Thank you so much for joining us with this live breaking news. This is Max of CTN Network reporting. Sam Bankman-Fried has been denied bail in the Bahamas, where he will be extradited to the United States to face a counsel in regards to multiple charges of fraud, racketeering, and so on. All right. I don't know how long I could have kept that straight face, but nonetheless, while it's no joking matter, Sam Bankman-Fried, of course, is facing quite a few charges. Let's face it. And if anything, he was truly denied basically bail. Now, yesterday on our live show, we had a very special guest. He is Sean the Crypto Smith. And if anything, I thought I'd go ahead and highlight a few key areas of this particular panel discussion in regards to just that. Sam Bankman-Fried and the whole FTX disaster. We're going to see a few various clips and so on, but if anything, it was a really nice panel discussion in regards to just that, the hot topic of FTX. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into that particular discussion, and we'll come back with some more commentary shortly after. All right, here we go. I want to state this. So glad to have Sean, aka the Crypto Smith, in the house. How you doing, Sean?
I'm doing pretty well. I can't complain, and if I do, nobody cares. So I try to keep it to myself. But I'm not doing bad. I spent like 3 hours today watching the hearing on the FTX collapse, and the guy, Mr. Ray, giving his testimony on that. It's very, very interesting.
It is interesting.
What did you gather from the hearing that you watched today? I mean, what was your overall impression?
So to me, if I could sum it up, it seemed like a frat house running a multi-billion-dollar company with zero oversight or controls. That's basically what they did.
Kind of like Animal House. Remember Animal House, the movie?
Yeah, just the absolute absence of professionalism. Nobody experienced in anything that they needed to be experienced in, and no record keeping. Like that's, to me, is astounding. And then just before I came on here, one of the congressmen was asking, is it, with all of the large money, the large investors out there that invested tens of millions of dollars into FTX, was there anybody who did any due diligence into this company at all? I'm assuming the answer is no. He couldn't tell because obviously Mr. Ray came in, after it collapsed, and so now he's the new CEO and had to actually appoint and find people to be in accounting and compliance officer and all these positions he had to appoint for a company that basically that had none of that.
Before we bring Max into the conversation, let's say hello to our beautiful community. Tim Shea says hey because that's what Tim Shea says, and he says hello to Sean, so that's good.
Hey Tim.
Big Watch Dude is back. He says, what's up, guys? Brian Dowie is here. Everyone's saying hello to one another. Big Watch Dude. It was more like the frat house in Revenge of the Nerds. All right. So Tim Shea says, Mr. Wonderful, not very thorough, apparently. That's what I was actually going to raise, and I'll bring that. I'll to be fair, kick it over to Max. Max, the question is from me. Mr. Wonderful, I think, you and I both like him. I'm kind of remaining neutral on him, though, because of crypto, because I need to kind of understand what actually transpired with him. But before crypto, when he was on Shark Tank and stuff like that, when I used to watch TV, I kind of admired him. I know he rubs some people the wrong way. But doesn't he have like a ton of money, and wouldn't he have a staff available to do some due diligence into this? I mean, what's your thoughts? Why did Mr. Wonderful not take a closer look at what he was partnering with?
Well, that's a great opening for what I'm going to go ahead and share with everybody here tonight. Since, let's face it, the whole FTX debacle has just been making headline news like crazy and so on. I even saw, for instance, what was this, NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt that was interrupted, partially speaking, to cover this whole thing with FTX. So we're going to get right into that actually right now. I'm going to go ahead and share it in a way for you guys can basically see it. And it is just that. You basically have Kevin O'Leary. It was basically, I think it was the day before this whole thing of the thing with, Sam Bankman-Fried getting arrested and so on, or extradited, I should say. So here it is right here. I fast forwarded it to this particular moment in this interview and so on. And you're literally going to see Kevin O'Leary get destroyed, to say the least. I'm not going to play like the full duration of this, but check this out for openers. We're going to just hear a little bit from this. I do have it up. And basically, it's just that. I mean, we've heard him many times. We've shared clips from him many times. Him as in Kevin O'Leary. Me personally, I have lost a lot of respect for him in that regard. Of course, we all thought he's this type of person from, that hit show Shark Tank. But here you go. Here is a little brief from that.
Okay. Total deal was just under $15 million, all in. You said the following. You said, to find crypto investment opportunities that met my own rigorous standards. That was your phrase. I entered into this relationship with FTX. It has some of the best crypto exchange offerings I've seen on the market. Yes. Given that you were the spokesman and ambassador for this company. Yes. Because what kind of diligence did you do around this issue of compliance, given where we sit today? I obviously know all the institutional investors in this deal. We all look like idiots. Let's put that on the table, okay?
Amen.
We on each other's due diligence, but we also relied on another investment theme that I felt drove a lot of interest in FTX. Sam Bankman-Fried is an American. His parents are American compliance lawyers. There were no other American large exchanges to invest in if you wanted to invest in crypto as an infrastructure play. So many of us said, wait a second, who's coming to this deal? We knew, for example,
It sounds like groupthink. Did you know there was no CFO?
Look, at the end of the day, to say that there was no CFO is also a bit of a falsehood. This was a nascent industry with a disruptor at its helm.
So the money that you lost, was it all just the money that you were compensated for being a spokesperson for FTX? The 9.7, that was money they gave you, and then you lost. Did you lose any money of your own before you were how much? Before you were compensated?
Well, listen, at the end of the day, I look at the compensation as a source of income.
No, I know, but are you net down from your own net worth, or did you got the 15 million and you lost 9 of the 15 million?
I net down. I paid millions in taxes, and I hopefully can recoup those. I paid millions in fees to agents. Are you kidding?
All right.
This has not been a great experience.
But losing 15 million that he gave you to be the spokesperson is a little bit different than, a lot of people who put money.
But Andrew, if you're asking, did I do enough due diligence? The answer is no. Did I rely like others did in Joe's concept of groupthink? Yes, we all did that.
All right, so there's more to this, obviously, but here's the thing, right? So, Sean was basically talking about this whole concept of just that, due diligence. And clearly, you're hearing O'Leary discuss just that, due diligence. So I'll kick it to whoever wants to take this first. Larry, Sean, go ahead.
The answer is clearly they did zero. There's not one entity out there that could have done even the most cursory glance at this company. If they had walked in the front door to any of these companies, they would have said, holy cow, I need to get my money back as soon as possible. And they would have probably gone to regulators or to Congress or to, whatever the, who's going to handle the Justice Department, right? And let them know, like, there's some serious malfeasance going on here. Anybody could have seen that.
I'll kind of compare it. I'm not going to mention any YouTubers at all. I'm not even thinking of anybody, but just think about someone paying for an AMA, somebody like, that wasn't such a great token that maybe, people on the surface might think it was a rug pull. And, back last year, everybody was just, accepting money, not really looking into it. Not everybody, but a lot of people were YouTubers. And, so it's kind of like, they come along, they're like, hey, you want to be our spokesperson, Kevin? We'll give you $15 million. And that's like kind of like just blinding the whole thing. So it's like 15 million, it's like they don't want to find anything wrong. That's almost like they're just blinded by all that money. So I think he does a good job. I don't know if he has, I don't think he has a legal background, but he kind of was dancing around like a boxer, dodging questions. And the first question really hit him. It looked like a deer in headlights, but
he did.
He does a good job answering. He does a good job answering things, but not answering the question. He kind of just danced around.
Well, he's going to have to, because I think at the end of the day, and this is probably months down the road, he may hold some culpability here, right? When you get paid and you do zero due diligence and you shill an absolute complete fraud of a company, right? Somebody's coming after you. You know, whether it's the legal side or the what do you call it, civil side. Like somebody's coming after him. Somebody wants their money back.
Well, in his defense, I mean, the whole thing of, did you actually put, 15 million of your own money? And then the whole comeback was, well, I was paid in crypto. Okay. Let's say you were, he could have very well been paid in crypto. Let's say, for instance, it was in the native token of FTT. Still, nonetheless, you're literally holding investor money in some form, right? And if anything, that needs to be looked upon.
Yeah, maybe perhaps paid back. And one of the crazy things here is a lot of the politicians who got money, they're all saying, I'm not giving the money back. Even though that money that they received could very well be from one of your wallets that they took to pay for houses, in the Bahamas, and for politicians and, other companies that they apparently overpaid for, or the bank in Farmington, Washington, that came up in this hearing today too, which, I'll be fascinated to find out what they ended up using that for.
They decided to give the monies to charity instead of returning it to perhaps the holders that were invested in or that had money on FTX, right? Crypto. But the thing that's striking me was a tweet that I read yesterday, and I didn't look into it. I didn't do my due diligence to find out if it was true or not, but I wanted to bring it to you guys because it was very alarming about this whole thing. The biggest thing that was alarming to me was they were trading Sam and his, gang of whatever. I don't know what you want to call these guys. The
That's
gang
fine. That sounds fun. A gang of whatever. That sounds about accurate.
These guys are, right? They were trading a fake Bitcoin. Did you guys hear that? And before you answer that, let me just be fair. Let me just say hello to some people that came in here, and we didn't get to say hello to Wadi, the crypto hunter, is here. Thank you for being here.
Hey, Wadi.
XXI Gaming. Let's see. Let's keep going
Hi,
here.
everybody. Good to see you.
Jerk is here. How about that? And Selmo Fudd is here. He says hello to us and Sean. Yes, the Jerk says, well, listen, just like Mr. Wonderful just said. And let me just see here. Larry, you might get your wish on XRP. We'll have to see. Wadi says, Larry, jump on the XRP train. I will soon. I think I'm going to be able to do it before Christmas. Big Watch Do. What about all the YouTubers who push people to use FTX as an exchange? Yes, I wonder if they feel any culpability.
I'll say this just real quick. I know you're going through the comments and so on. Shout out to Max Maher. I still think he does a great job as far as being the quote unquote documentary specialist from a crypto type theme, if you will. But he addressed that because, of course, let's face it, he was sponsored by FTX. But ironically, if you go back into his particular videos, there is a point before the whole collapse of FTX where he no longer even mentions FTX. And of course, when the whole collapse happened, he does address just that in a particular video. He did a very good job in regards to that. But again, what about all the other ones in which, click on my particular link and, it's kind of like their way of shilling, but of course, they want to earn a reward, right? Let's face it, and so on. Yeah, there is a lot of people that went that particular route, but it's kind of like, how about this? The celebrities, I know we're going through some of the comments. I'll just state that. I mean, why are we going after the celebrities? Just hear me out. Whether you're a fan of Tom Brady or I'm a fan of Steph Curry, right? Larry knows me. I'm an NBA guy, right? That's my sport and so on. But if anything, go after the real guys, right? Gary Gensler, people like that. Sam Bankman-Fried. I know we just got him last night and so on, but those are the real guys to go after, not necessarily the messengers. So it is what it is.
Shout out and let's say hello to Dimes, and of course Jerk is here. Michael Montclair is here, and we're going to keep going. How about Mark Renton is here? I have not seen you here before. Appreciate you being here. Crypto Winter back in the house, and Mr. Lambo's Crypto Talk is here. How about that? Moving through, just trying to get everybody here. Hit the like button. Thank you. Keep going. Hey, we've got a lot of people in here. If you guys would just hit the like button, appreciate it. But yes, let's get into whoever wants to go first on the subject of the fake Bitcoin. Isn't that like one of the most alarming things? And how in the world are they able to even, it's almost like in broad daylight, get away with this stuff in the beginning. I mean, now he might have to pay the piper, but Did you guys hear about the fake Bitcoin they were trading on FTX?
I did hear about the fake Bitcoin.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I did hear about that. I heard about some other fake ones that was going on. I think the bottom line is this, right? So it's accountability and it's trust. You know, people have a certain amount of trust, right? This is, of course, before the whole thing with FTX. And it's just that, you know, you as the investor, you have a certain level of trust that you're buying something authentic. Just like, you know, if I'm going to go and buy some brand new Air Jordans, you know, and if I'm in New York or something like that, let's face it, down at the docks and whatnot, I may need the likes of, let's face it, vet to finally create that mechanism, if you will, to basically tell me, you know what, this is the real thing. It comes from this, you know, scan a barcode, and it comes from this particular manufacturing plant in such and such area. Of course, when it comes to exchanges, we need a lot more, you know, to it than just that, right? But I think it's just that it's the trust, and when that trust is gone, you see a lot of people, of course, panic, and they go immediately to cold storage and so on. So I'll kick it over to Sean on that particular one.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. I don't know about the fake, you know, Bitcoin. I'm not sure what that was about, but I mean, I don't think it's any different than them coming up with valuation for FTT token out of thin air, you know, when they created the token, and then continued to mint, you know, that as they went on. But it's just, I want to go back to Larry or Max's point on, you know, holding people accountable, right? And I'm going to agree. I don't think that you're going to hold anybody who mentioned FTX or happened to say, hey, they're a great exchange. I hold my crypto on them. You should go check them out. You know, what about your friend or your coworker? I might say, hey, if you got crypto, maybe go over, check out FTX, and then they lost money. Are they going to come back and sue you? You know, probably not. I mean, that's just, everybody has to do their own due diligence. You know, even Mr. Wonderful, I don't really care for him. I lost all respect for him, not because he didn't do due diligence. The simple fact that when he was asked if he would invest with Sam Bankman-Fried again, he said, yes, he would.
Yes. Thank you. Yes.
Well, to me, there's something more there that we're still not getting. There's still some other relationship there that we don't understand yet. But that's my take on it.
And another thing, here's another thing. You know, we didn't have time to play the whole thing. Maybe we'll play a little bit more into it. But he specifically mentions in these particular interviews, which is really odd, right? He uses this type of vocabulary, you know, innocent until, you know, proven guilty and all these types of things. And he reiterates it over and over. Now, I get it. It's nice to say that. It's nice to have your friends back and all sorts of stuff like that. But when you have literally 90% of people who, I guess you could say, you know, made up their minds, and some people could say, well, Max, you know, what about the whole thing with Do Kwon? You know, a lot of people didn't have enough evidence. Look how that turned out. And so I get it, right? It's a little bit of an apples and oranges comparison to a sense, right? But my thing is, when you hear all this stuff and you hear about how he talks, again, it's kind of like what, you know, Sean was basically mentioning. It's just like, I want to go back to that. And I think if anything, that's a great segue for the next thing that we're going to bring up. And that basically is what you're going to see right here from Representative John Rose. This was addressed just a few hours ago, okay? And if you're wondering who he is the U.S. Representative serving Tennessee's 6th Congressional District, and he did talk specifically about what is happening with this whole thing with Sam Bankman-Fried, you name it. I'm going to go ahead and basically pull that up right now for you guys, present in a way, of course, for you to hear it. It's a short clip, and then we'll come right back to our particular coverage here tonight. Thank you so much for joining us here at CTN with our special guest, Sean, the Crypto Smith. All right, so here it is, 1:06. Here's the particular introduction to this. So, for instance, it says Gary Gensler, of course, is on borrowed time. You're going to hear him as in Representative John Rose, specifically address Chairman Gensler right here. And going to go ahead and blow that up, and we'll be back in about 1 minute.
The collapse of FTX. Mismanagement of funds, the use of complex margin and collateralization of certain digital assets, and of course, alleged fraud. The timing of the events of the last 12 hours is certainly interesting. As a recovering attorney, it makes me wonder why a prosecutor wouldn't want to potentially add lying to Congress to accompany the list of charges against Mr. Bankman-Fried. It also makes me wonder why the SEC waited until today to file its own charges. Frankly, Chair Gensler has failed at his job, and worst of all, he has failed to protect investors, which is one of the key components of the SEC's tripartite mission. Similarly, while he has been asleep at the wheel, the Democratic majority has failed to have him to testify before this committee for over 14 months, which I believe is a disservice to investors. I hope that in a few weeks that we in the new Republican majority will finally start to hold the Biden administration accountable for their failures. Now, I see my time is limited, so I will.
All right. So hopefully everybody heard that. Let's get right into that. So this came out, of course, not too long ago. I think, basically, if I'm not mistaken, about 45 minutes before our show started. You're starting to see just that. People who are part of, for instance, legislators or, this particular person from this district. But again, members of Congress, and they're specifically mentioning the likes, finally, of SEC Chairman Gary Gensler and so on. What do you guys think in regards to this? I don't know who wants to take it first. Do you think this is just now finally the start of how this will just unravel?
So, okay, so I want to address one thing he said. He said, everybody had the question, how come it took so long, right, to arrest this guy? And I listened to a former U.S. attorney earlier today and other attorneys who were involved in the Enron situation. And they said basically it was normally it takes a long time to gather evidence to really get, an indictment, of this magnitude. And normally in that period of time, the person who you're actually investigating gets an idea that, hey, this is coming down, and they run, right? And then they go to a country that has a non-extradition treaty. So they didn't want to spook Sam because they thought maybe he might run because he obviously has the means to do so. So they waited until the very last second, which is why the SEC didn't file their complaint until the DOJ filed theirs. So that kind of explains, the timing of it. But the fact that he was arrested actually this quickly is really unprecedented in this kind of case. So, but as far as Chair Gensler goes, or Herr Gensler,
I like that.
His time is nearly up. As soon as Republicans take over, he'll probably quit. He'll retire at that point because he's looking to move on to bigger and better things. So, and he knows he's going to get drug in front of Congress to have to answer for a lot of this stuff, and he's not going to want to do that.
Before we get back into it, let's say hello to some more people in our audience here. We're going to keep going. And Crypto Lounge is here. Michael's here. He says, great show, guys. Caroline, not so sweet Caroline, is the key to putting SBF away, and she sung like a bird. Slam dunk case for the feds. XXI Gaming says, so how does the fake Bitcoin work? I mean, it's the Bitcoin price, right? Crypto Winter's back. Caroline has lawyers with the ex-FCC president. What the heck? All right. And let's just keep going on here. Brian Dowie says, does anybody know if it's true SBF will stay in the Bahamas until February 8th?
I haven't heard about that. Brian.
I doubt that, seriously.
Yeah.
They already denied his bail.
Welcome to Cool Cat Crypto is back. How about that? Welcome back, Cool Cat. And let's see. Cool Cat. If Peter seemed to get it at the end. Schiff got it, but it was very stubborn. All right. Crypto Winter. Caroline hired the top FCC regulator to represent her. All right. She is most definitely his co-defendant. Cool Cat Crypto. Yes, he is. Kurt offered to fly to where Peter is and show him how it works. Hopefully that comes to pass. Wadi says, great stream, guys. Thank you for that. Yeah, so we got the everybody in here. Appreciate you all joining us. But yeah, this whole thing is just what's going to happen to Caroline from here? What do you think? Is she going to be also indicted, or are they going to just wait on her?
So just to let you know, so the charges that were filed were, fraud, wire fraud, conspiracy to commit commodities fraud, conspiracy to commit securities violations, campaign finance law, So there's a lot of conspiracy charges here, and we know that a conspiracy requires at least two people. So they're leaving this open for other people to be indicted. I guarantee you, Caroline's going to be indicted, and she'll probably play a cooperating, witness and work out some kind of deal. But there are other, I don't remember the names of the other people involved, but I guarantee you that they're going to be indicted as well. I mean, that's my opinion, but that's why you usually levy conspiracy charges, unless you're a single defendant, and then they can get you on conspiracy basically for anything. They don't, a basic conspiracy charge, they don't really have to prove anything. So, but conspiracy and all of these other things, I guarantee you they're looking for other defendants here.
Your thoughts, Max?
Yeah, I'm pretty much with Sean in regards to that, and we do have some more in regards to this that actually just broke out like not that long ago. I'm going to show just a little bit in regards to just that. It's not like a particular video clip or anything like that, but I do want to draw your attention to this. And I don't know, it's about roughly like an hour ago. Excuse me. But I'm actually going to blow this up a little bit more. Let me see. Make it just a little bit bigger. But yeah, like it shows, SBF accused of making illegal campaign contributions. We talked about, for instance, the particular arrest that happened, for instance, and of course how he's being extradited to the United States, some of these other dealings and so on. You saw, for instance, if you were here at the beginning of the show, for you guys, the Kevin O'Leary interview literally the day before. A lot of things that have been happening in this particular timeline. Now, of course, this is posted straight from NBC News. Of course, MSN.com kind of reclipped it, if you will. But yeah, we know, of course, that SBF was charged on Tuesday in connection with what prosecutors said was a scheme to illegally funnel millions. We get the gist, right? So going a little bit further down, look at this. So it says bankman-fried. Let's face it, scam bankman-fried at this point. And unnamed co-conspirators made, quote, tens of millions of dollars in illegal campaign contributions. Now, of course, the whole thing that happened with FTX is a massive thing, to say the least, but there's also this other side of it, right? That people are really, really wondering about. And of course, here at CTN, we try to remain neutral about it, because let's face it, when it comes to politics and religion, it's a very divisive thing. All right, so it states, these particular contributions to both Democratic and even Republican candidates. I believe Menelek, if he's in the House or in the audience, he did point out that Republicans did receive some contributions as well. So we got to point that out. But it says Damian Williams, the U.S. Attorney for Southern New York, said at a news conference, unveiling the 8-count criminal indictment, which of course included a campaign finance violation charge. The donations, Williams said, were, quote, disguised to look as though they were coming from wealthy donors, when in fact the contributions were funded by Bankman-Fried's privately held crypto hedge fund, just that, like we were talking about earlier, Sweet Caroline's Alameda Research, using stolen...
Not so sweet, Caroline.
Well, not so sweet.
Edit that one.
Yeah, it's too bad we can't have the bomb every time, but we're going to get a copyright strike. But anyway, Alameda Research using stolen customer money, quote, and all of this dirty money, Williams said, was used to buy bipartisan influence and impact the direction of public policy in Washington. Now, my key takeaway is this. Sounds like something the Russians would do, basically, right? Why is this going on in crypto? Well, that's another story for another day. I'm not trying to make it a conspiracy theory. There's a little bit more in regards to this. It says Mark S. Cohen, Bankman-Fried's attorney, said his client is, quote, reviewing the charges with his legal team and considering all of his legal options. Of course, as we know, Bankman-Fried spent at least $70 million on 2022 campaigns, according to Federal Election Commission records. And 3 sources have told NBC News that there was much more in, quote, dark money, a term used to describe, of course, legal donations that do not have to be publicly disclosed, to engender goodwill with candidates on both sides of the aisle and to be in a position to peddle influence around the crypto industry no matter the outcome of election. Now, there's a little bit more, and of course, I'll cut it off at this particular one. It says federal law limits donations from an individual to a single candidate to $5,800, $2,900 for the general election, and an equal amount for the primary. Prosecutors alleged in the indictment Tuesday that Bankman-Fried deceived the FEC by making, quote, contributions to candidates for federal office, joint fundraising committees, and independent expenditure committees in the name of other persons, end quote, beginning in 2020 and continuing until last month. So there's that particular side of things. I'm going to go ahead and kick it into whoever wants to take this. How about you, Larry? How about you? What do you think about that last particular statement?
I'm just, I had to be upfront with you. I've actually just been reading the comments as they've been coming in. So I wasn't paying.
Well, I was trying to set you up. I just, if anything, I wanted to get your takeaway as far as like, how these aren't disclosed, if you were, or the money. If you want, I can kick over to Sean. Get your reaction.
Well, yeah. Let me just respond actually to one of the comments in here.
Sure.
That's what I was reading. All these comments as they're coming in. So, and then we'll get Sean to answer your question. And I apologize, but Crypto Winter says this is what was making me laugh. Kevin is crying over $9 million. And that's what I was thinking the whole time. Like, he got $15 million for the endorsement, right? And so basically he still netted $6 million. And, I don't hear in there anywhere him really emphasize investors' money. He never says, like, we need to recover this for everybody else. It just seems like him. I got to find my money and stuff like that. So he doesn't really, he's not really handling it well from a PR standpoint. I would appreciate it more if he said, look, we need to figure out, let's get to the bottom of this so we can recover the investors' money that was lost on this exchange. And he does seem, the more I'm listening to this and reading this, or you're reading it to us and going through it, the more I'm starting to think that he has been compromised. I think he's just in kind of cahoots with SBF from what I'm seeing on the surface. But I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead, Sean. What if you want to respond to what Max was going through there?
Yeah, well, first I'll agree with what your assessment of Mr. Wonderful. Obviously, he's not Mr. Wonderful, and he probably doesn't care about other people's money. So, he cares about looking bad right now. And yeah, from a PR standpoint, him talking, even giving interviews right now is probably against his lawyer's advice. So, yeah, it doesn't make him look good. But as far as what Max was talking about, you said you didn't want to get into conspiracy theories as to why they're going to hide campaign donations and stuff like that, and what the reason might be. And I don't think it's a conspiracy. I think we know exactly what he was doing. He was greasing the wheels that he needed to grease to get political sway so he could meet with Gensler, which he did on multiple occasions, and they were working on a joint bill for regulation, and he wanted regulation for exchanges in exchange for himself to get preferential treatment and FTX to get preferential treatment. So basically, he was trying to pave the way for FTX to be the only remaining central exchange out there, which is why he had a hand, and this, I don't know how proven this is just yet, in taking down, what's the Terra Luna, because that's definitely out there, that FTX was at least partly responsible for that. And then he was going to go after other exchanges as well, including Binance. So I think it all kind of points to that. He was so sure of himself because he was in charge of billions of dollars, even though a lot of that money obviously wasn't there any longer, that he was going to be able to get away with this and kind of create his own monopoly on the central exchange.
Let me just respond real quick when you were saying, I have heard of him being involved with the Terra Luna class crash, and also we know he doesn't like CZ, so I wouldn't be surprised if he was trying to do something with Binance to attack them. But I wonder what the motivation would be for. This is what makes me feel like it's kind of, I guess I'll kind of throw it out there. I think he is kind of tied to Big Brother, because why would he be involved with trying to bring down Terra Luna? Like, what would be the connection there? What's the motivation for it is what I'm trying to understand. Is anybody...
Well, so if he can prove to himself, that he can depeg, a stable coin like that, even though it was algorithmic, it wasn't, you're probably never going to last anyway, because it wasn't really backed by anything. So and I think that he's got some mental challenges.
Issues?
SBF does, right? I
He
think
has
that
a lot of hair. I'll say that. I
Yes,
wish
he
I
has
had
a
a
lot
little
of-
more of his hair.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to bash his hair either, okay?
Yeah, I could use some too. So yeah.
But I think that he's thinking of himself in a certain way, where he thinks he wants to be the god of crypto, and he wants to prove everybody that he can do these things. I can depeg a stable coin that's worth $40 billion or whatever it was, and then he can work with the head of the SEC for regulation, and then get that, like I said, that special treatment. So this is a narcissist. I think he most likely is.
Maybe like a god complex type thing.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
think about the fact that he went from nothing, from zero, to worth what, 26 billion or 30 billion or whatever it was in 2.5 years.
Wow.
I mean, why wouldn't he think he couldn't just do anything at that point?
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. I mean, as far as some of the comments you basically made about Sam Bankman-Fried, I mean, yeah, he is a pathological psychopath. Yeah, absolutely. So
let me just say hello to a few people here in the comments. I'm just trying to back up, and I'm sorry we're not going to be able to read all the comments, but we will say hello to everybody. Let me just see here. There was someone I missed. Oh, here it is. Shout out to Grizzly Bear Greg. Grr, is here. He says, "Hey Tim, hey Brian," and
I see how it is, Grizzly Bear Gray. I see how it is. No, I'm just kidding. Good to see you, man.
All right, so Michael Montclair is here, of course. Appreciate Michael Montclair. He says they're going to shave off SBF's hair when he goes to jail. Maybe they might have to. So who's a bigger villain at this point? Just now, what the information that we know now. So does Do Kwon look a little bit better when he put him next to SBF? Is Do Kwon's not so bad now? Maybe. But we haven't heard.
Never been a fan, but I think, yeah, obviously, if you're just going to compare the two, I would think Do Kwon's going to come out on top of that one.
Well, how about this? Yeah, true. I mean, back to what Sean was talking about earlier. So, for instance, the whole thing about like going, fleeing the country, fleeing the United States, going to a particular country where your extradition laws don't apply, I guess you could say. And where is Do Kwon as we speak? Last I checked, Siberia, right? Something like that. So if anything, it's just like there's that. And how's that gonna, unfold? Of course, there's a lot of focus, and rightfully so, on SBF as we speak, but I'm sure Do Kwon likes the idea that he hasn't been getting the attention, to say the least. So we just have to see.
The spotlight's off of him right now.
Yeah, but the country where he's at, I mean, really, Siberia?
Is that where he is? I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's the rumor. Yeah. I don't know. I can't verify that, but yeah.
There's a lot of federal prisons I'd probably rather be at than Siberia.
Yeah.
Let's see. True. Michael Montclair says he's hiding the digital crypto in his fro. SPF. Crypto Winter says, "Look, Terra Voyager 3 arrows should not have been so leveraged. That's still just as bad." Grizzly Bear Greg. Do Kwon in Mexico watching Donkey Show.
Oh, boy.
Tim Shea. Selmo. Something will happen to change our focus, and they will get away with it. And that's what Selmo Fudd earlier said. What about the parties that SBF donated millions to? They're looking shady as hell right now. Let's see here. And there's something from Crypto Winter earlier. Sam Bankman shorted $8 billion worth of USDT. Is that really? I don't know if he shorted that.
Tether?
One. Yeah, Tether.
Huh.
I didn't heard that one. But yeah, so what else is going on? So the old man's coming out of the cave soon.
That's always something that's going to be looming.
Interest rates are going to go up, down, stay the same. Is there going to be they're going to raise rates? What do you guys think?
I'm going to say 50 basis points is what they're going to do.
50 basis points. What do you think, Max?
I agreed with Sean earlier. I'm going to agree with him on that particular one. I don't see 75 basis points, to be honest. I think at this point, there's, of course, enough, we covered it. Man, we've been covering this actually for a while. This whole thing about, for instance, where economy's at, where inflation's at, some of the numbers that show, basically speaking, that there's some possible good news coming out, going forward as far as the crypto market in 2023. This is going to be the start of the bull market and so on. And based on that particular data and so on, I just don't see them going to, again, 75 basis points. And I heard a couple people saying, yeah, it's going to be 100. It never was 100 this last year, if I'm not mistaken. The general consensus was it was 75 the last few times, and 50 just kind of seems like it makes sense. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Sean on this particular one, 50 basis points.
Yeah, 100 doesn't make any sense because they the CPI numbers we came out with today obviously were better than expected. So it is trending in the direction they want it to trend. And, raising interest rates in a looming recession is unheard of. Like, that's not something you normally do. Like, you're just exacerbating the problem. They just don't give it enough time. This is my, I've always had this question, like they give it a month, right? And you're talking about a near global economy. They're trying to, figure out, right? And they want, they have this kind of a globalist agenda where the US dollar is so influential everywhere in the world, but yet we're going to raise interest rates and then just wait for 30 days and hopefully everything gets better. And then if it doesn't get better, then we're just going to raise it again. And we don't ever give it enough time to actually take hold, right? You have to wait for companies to stop taking loans or people stop taking credit and buying things, right? It takes time. It takes more than 30 days for that to happen.
It really does.
What are your thoughts, guys, on Binance and Crypto.com? Are either one of those going to be in trouble? Anybody think that they might be next to collapse, Binance or Crypto.com?
I'll take this one first. So for me personally, I'm gonna be in the minority about this, and I realize it's it's kind of frowned upon, if you will. So my thing is, multiple times you've seen, for instance, what do you want to call it, influencer reaction or community reaction to FUD, and it's just that FUD. So FUD loves to travel because it's what's hot in the news. There's various content creators that build their channels on it and so on, and I'm not bashing that. I mean, if that's them, hey, have at it. There's an audience for that, to say the least. Then there's also reality, and my thing is also when it comes to the stance of certain exchanges. Let's face it, Crypto.com. Their particular CEO, he came out multiple times with a reaction on that. Heck, now you even have, for instance, CMC, who has what I refer to as, the proof of reserves. I even did a video about it, right? So for instance, I thought that was good to see that. Now, of course, the backlash of that whole thing of sending so much money to the wrong address didn't look good. But in their defense, right, CEO of Crypto.com basically, show that, this was like, I guess you could say like one of those type of corporate accounts where they can just get it back pretty easily, to say the least. But still, that looked really, really bad. On top of that, you guys know I deal with KuCoin quite a bit and so on. During this whole thing that happened, of course, with FTX, they came out immediately with their proof of reserves. And then, of course, after that, there was another, where there's an action, there's a reaction. And that was, of course, well, what about, on your balance sheets, there's some discrepancies. Even I myself, and, shout out to Daniel Gayton, he pointed out and so on. So there's always going to be one side, a huge side, I should say, that's going to be like, let's go to, let's panic. It's just kind of like, let's face it, 1929 stock market crash, right? We live in a different era. This era basically states, get your money off exchanges immediately. Well, back then it was get your money out of the banks immediately, right? There's going to be that sense of panic. But again, the FUD that surrounds it. So you saw, for instance, certain content creators, and they're coming out with constant, just that FUD in that type, in the space, if you will, because let's face it, that's a popular thing. My thing is this. I think Crypto.com is going to be okay. Now, in regards to this whole thing with CZ and Binance, Brian Dowie sent me some things a while back, and it does make you at least take pause and take a step back and wonder, if some of this ends up being true, which I'm not saying it is, I'm not saying it isn't. When it comes to Binance, I think if CZ is sinister as hell, if he's worse than Sam Bankman-Fried, then my God, I think this would be like one of the biggest setbacks ever. I don't know. I guess for us, like a person like myself, I can't speak on behalf of Sean and everybody else here, but for me personally, like I would still probably invest in crypto because if everything tanked, if Binance, if that thing collapsed, I'm getting ahead of myself, but if that thing collapsed and CZ Sinister and all this crazy doom and gloom, I think we'll go through one of the worst crypto. Not crypto winners, but let's face it, crypto nuclear fallout at that point that we've ever seen. It'd be incredibly damaging for years for the retail investor. Would it be so damaging for institutional money? Maybe not, because think about this. I mean, we're always talking about the likes of XRP and so on. That's not really focused on retail investors anyway. So there is that side of it. But for somebody like myself, I would still recognize the opportunity and say to myself, I'm gonna buy this stuff at flash crash. I mean, more than flash crash. Like, all right, these prices are probably gonna be here for at least a year or so or more, and I'm gonna take advantage of that. But would it suck completely beyond measure for for new retail adoption? Yeah, absolutely it would. But I think those conversations about we're done with centralized exchanges, that's always going to happen. I know it took quite a bit of an explanation with that, but I want to kick it over to Sean. What do you think, to answer Larry's question in that regard? It's kind of complicated, to say the least.
Well, it is complicated because you have two different sides of this, and it's this you have with almost any industry. You have people who are going to, if they trust Binance, it doesn't matter what comes out or what they put out, they're going to trust them. And then you have people who are afraid, maybe they lost money at FTX, right? Now they're not going to trust anybody, right? So, yeah, and you can say, I see the proof of reserves, right? But is it real, right? How do I know that that's all real? How do I know that's just not a snapshot of one day? And then most of that has to get paid out tomorrow, and then maybe some of that's going to be gone. We also don't know the other half of the books, which is the liabilities that these companies have. So, and you have to imagine there's liabilities there as well. So what do they owe versus what are they holding? And then if some things come due and they don't have enough to cover, and it happens to be a bad day in the market and people are starting to liquidate their positions, do they really have enough to cover it? And that's something that, unless they open up the books, all of the books, you're never going to know. There's always going to be an element of trust there.
We lost your mic there. Before we get into it, Max, let me just ask, what does Patches think? Patches, somebody asked, Grizzly Bear Greg wants to know it. Patches! Hey, Patches! Oh, man, he won't even get up. Patches, wake up! That's what Patches thinks. He's just going to stay sleeping. Well, what were you about to say, Max?
I was trying to get this thing off of my the mic key. That's why I got muted. No, what I was going to say is, it is just that. I mean, it's that confidence. Actually, what I was really going to say is back to what Sean was mentioning, and that was, how you mentioned with liquidity. I mean, think about this, even from, low market cap standpoint, when it comes to a brand new, crypto project, whether it's Binance Smart Chain one or ERC20 token. It's just that, do these particular projects have enough liquidity, or in this case at a more monumental stage, right? Do these exchanges have the liquidity needed to cover cost in an crap moment, right? And the answer basically right now is, in the case of FTX, is absolutely no, because of everything that's happened and so on. So, with that said, I mean, I honestly think if everything would have happened in a bull market with the FTX thing, it kind of makes you wonder if Sam Bankman-Fried and the rest of his cronies and so on would have got away with this. You know what I mean? Would have been enough that they had there, but definitely in the bear market, no way. I mean, you already seen the proof, beyond measure with what happened with Celsius and so on. I think, if anything, it's also realizing that, a lot of these exchanges who promise, as the saying goes, if it's too good to be true, usually is. It's kind of like an outdated or not outdated, but it's a true statement that, hey, we're going to provide you guys this particular yield. Man, that's a lot higher than everybody else. Well, everything will be fine. But again, the accountability, the due process, or some of these comments basically that were thrown at Kevin O'Leary earlier, right? The due diligence, if you will. Where was the due diligence? It's just simply not there. And it's not just FTX. It's, again, Celsius, Terra Luna back in the day. Well, last May, so on and so forth. So we'll see a lot more due diligence now, but it's unfortunate because it was at the price of investor money.
I'm going to just read, there's 3 comments I want you guys to respond to here. Justin's son deposited $100 billion into Binance a few hours before Binance halts USDC, reported by Brian Dowie. Had you guys seen that or heard that about Justin's son doing that?
It was something about a couple hours before, probably not. I was trying to put a lot of focus on this particular news coverage, but I'll definitely look into it, Brian. Thank you.
And this one right here is a funny one, actually. Crypto Winter says, can BitBoy go to Binance headquarters? BitBoy Crypto is like an investigative reporter now. Here's the one I really want to get you guys to weigh in on. Grizzly Bear Greg says, are we deciding that we need federal regulation? Is this, I still think that Big Brother is tied to these collapses, right? All of them, especially Terra Luna and also especially FTX, both of those. But have we come full circle? Because I'm more in favor of regulation than I was before, because I just keep focusing on the old money coming over, the stocks, the equity markets, that type of money coming over. And I just think people are spooked right now. People are just scared. When you have people like my mom texting me and knowing about this story, it's hit the mainstream. So I think it's given a big black eye to crypto, and it's going to prevent a lot of new money from coming in without regulation. Are we at the point where you guys are in favor of regulation? Are you more in favor of it now, or what's your thoughts on regulation at this point with all that's happened?
So first I'll answer what happened with USDC and Binance halting that. So CZ actually came out and said they had a run on USDC, and he stated that they had to wait for a bank to open so they could trade more fiat for USDC. So what does that tell you? That tells you they didn't have enough to cover withdrawals. If you have to halt withdrawals, you say, hey, wait a second, we don't have enough in the account. I got to go get some more money and put it in here. Even though he's showing, some of these wallet addresses with all of this money in it, obviously that there's something more to it. We're not getting the whole story here. But as far as regulation goes, 100%, and I know this is not popular in crypto, centralized exchanges 100% have to be regulated. There is no other way around it. It's never going to work otherwise. Decentralized exchanges, you can't really do anything about. And they're more trusted, obviously, because there's no one central point of failure or one central point of control. But the big money, the mom and pops, the institutional money, a lot more of it is not going to come in, without a set of rules and a framework that they can trust.
Shout out to Mental Echoes here. He says, hello, gentlemen, and hello to Crypto Smith.
Hey, Mental, good to see you.
So, Max, what's your thoughts at this point? So let me add one more question in there. So your thoughts on the overall market, as far as from the outside looking in, from somebody that's new to crypto or just thinking about getting into it, is this something where they're saying, man, I got to wait until regulation comes out, or are they going to just be scared away by what's all that's happened with FTX? I mean, what's your thoughts on new people looking into getting into crypto, and then also the need for regulation?
So I hate to say it, but there's going to be multiple categories, if you will, when it comes to the new investor. As far as the majority of new investors, I think it's just that, they're a new investor. They're looking at it from, where most new investors get their info. They're getting their info from maybe a work colleague. They're getting their info, for instance, mainstream news. And let's face it, when it comes to mainstream news, there's not a lot of reporting on crypto unless it's, some coin went to the moon, right? Like Shiba Inu last year, 2021, or if it's monumental collapse, right? Whereas UST, FTX, and so on, and that's bad. So the vast majority of those new investors are probably not going to come in. That's where you lose a lot of that retail money, if you will, right? There's a small percentage that will also look at like, well, hey, my buddy is into crypto, and he says, for instance, there's lots of opportunity because why would I want to buy everything at the top of the mountain, if you will? Simply, you can still get your crypto off of, these particular exchanges, MEXC, or you get it off of crypto.com, Binance, Binance US, or Binance, depending on if you live outside the country and so on. And then from there, get it immediately on cold stores. There's that particular approach. As far as that particular approach, let's face it, that's my minority. That's, again, part of people's crypto journey, if you will. But whatever the case be, to blanket and generalize it, and I don't like generalizations. I never have. But if we're going to generalize it, I think that's where it's at. And I did see a super chat coming through, so I want to go ahead and recognize Selmo Fudd for the 99-cent super sticker. Thank you very much, Selmo. And we really do appreciate you as usual. Hopefully you're enjoying today's coverage. Our special guest, especially Sean the Crypto Smith. And speaking of which, I'm glad that Larry brought the plug, as you would say. We got the plug for Sean. Guys, listen. Sean the Crypto Smith is a great content creator, right? A fellow brother of this brotherhood of crypto content creators that we have here at CTN. And if anything, I think you guys really do appreciate his content. I remember back in the day, if I'm not mistaken, you used to do just recorded. And I think, if anything, our brother Larry encouraged you to do live streams and so on. I think that's awesome, to see that. So how about this? I'm going to kick it over to Larry, and let's talk about what you see right here, and if anything, how you and Sean originally met up and so on. I think that'll be nice for our audience to hear about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think Sean's a great guy, and he's really big into XRP. He's a good content creator. So I met Sean through Texas Tornado, Nick, Texas Tornado, because we were looking for people at the time when I was more involved with MetaMonkey with the marketing side of things. We were looking for people to get the word out. And so Nick, Texas Tornado, had recommended the Crypto Smith, Sean, and that's how I met Sean. And I had a really good feeling the first time I talked to him, just immediately. And so I'm just happy to get to know him. I mean, we're working together, talking about crypto beyond MetaMonkey. So it's just been a great time, great thing. I think, I did go on your channel one time, and this is the second time you've come on ours. So we're happy to have you as part of the CTN family. And I'll kick it over to you, Sean, if you want to talk a little bit about what you're talking about. And I know your big one is XRP, but if you want to just mention anything about what it is you're doing, what you're talking about, or just anything you want to announce.
Sure. First of all, I really appreciate you two. I mean, you guys have great content. I've been watching you guys from obviously since before I started the channel. But all you guys have always been kind. I mean, Larry, obviously I've met Max. I just talked to you today, and that's super cool. Hopefully we can do this again.
All right. And we're back. So hopefully you all enjoyed that particular panel discussion. A lot of times here at CTN, we bring you guys these types of discussions, whether it's covering the likes of different types of crypto projects. Let's face it, the whole thing with FTX is hot news right now. And if anything, you're seeing a lot happening almost on the daily when it comes to the whole topic of SBF and the collapse, or I should say the disaster of FTX. We'll continuously try to cover this and bring it to you guys. Like, comment, subscribe if you haven't done so already. And by all means, if you enjoy a live show, check out our live show, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, here daily at Crypto Talk Now. Last but not least, make sure that you at least take a stop to go to Sean the Crypto Smith's YouTube page, where, of course, as you saw in that particular interview, we showed you where to go directly to it multiple times. Really good content creator, to say the least. And if anything, if you enjoy his particular coverage of various DeFi plays, or as he was referred to as degen plays, by all means, take a look into what he has to offer on his particular channel. He also does a lot of live shows, and if anything, he does a lot of recorded content as well. He's also part of the Crypto Talk Now network family. We're more than glad to have networked with him. There you guys have it. Thanks again for watching. Y'all have a blessed day. We'll see you on the next one.